Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you're joining me for the first time, wow. Okay, this video is called Being Bareface. It's perhaps the first video that I'm recording, and I've already got a title for it. And so I have been preparing to do my presentations because I have so many ideas and downloads, so much information. If you're new to this channel, I do a channel on sacrifice, and which is with Mother Eve, going back to Genesis and really around numerology. I have had so many insights, and there are times I do ask Spirit, well, how am I going to convey this? And I know there's a part of me that knows that I will find the way on how to convey those messages. But sometimes, even in the midst of all these messages that I get, like downloads, people use downloads. And yes, I think downloads are very appropriate in the sense because I can always feel the vibration on top of my head. Zooming round, I can feel the vibration. And I have learned to pay attention. And it's the learning to pay attention that makes me or that compels me to do this presentation right now. So I'm half smiling because perhaps I have learned smiling is really something wonderful. And of course we use it to mask our emotions as well. So there's a double effect here. I have done over 500 presentations and have always worn makeup, not heavily, but always to some extent. As I grow older, I wear less makeup, and I have appreciated that. And this is why I'm calling this Bareface. So as you will notice, I have no makeup on my face, and it really dawned on me that the simple things, or the things we think is so simple, but is so engraded or embedded in us, that I'm actually feeling emotional about the advice that I have been given through Spirit, that I should not wear makeup. And of course, I am sad about that. Yes, I had not realized the extent of the impact that wearing a bit of foundation, not a lot, and a little bit of powder or mascara, which I don't always do on my presentations. In fact, I have gone with that much more. I just feel that, like according to the presentations I have done on Uranus entering the house of Taurus, that Uranus has begun with me, stripping me bareface. And I'm not happy, but I appreciate that which I must do because I have a work to do. And I really need to be as transparent as possible to continue this work. And I realize that. Of course, there's a lump in my throat right now. Of course, I know it will subside. How long it's going to take, I do not know. But Spirit is doing something so profound in me. And as I said, it's not just in me. It is in all, perhaps everybody, but profoundly in the second house, which Taurus is, and I am Taurus. And if you were to follow my other presentations, for instance, and it's the downloads I have had from the teachings on Genesis of chapter 1 and chapter 2, where I discovered 9 gods in Genesis of chapter 1 and 5 gods in Genesis of chapter 2. Adding together totals 14. I have said this before, that I am one of 14 children. When we add 1 plus 4, that gives us 5. I am also the 5th child. When we do the numerical value for Eve, as in the scriptures, of course, because Genesis we are talking about Adam and Eve and creation. So when we do the numerical value for Eve, it equals 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. When we do the numerical value for Christ, it also equals 5, which is 32. You will notice I have 22 or 32 right behind me. And it was just through doing these presentations that I did this instinctively. And it was 32 before, and then they fell down and they became 23. And the number 23 has been so alive in me now. I have been attracting 23s all over. I am understanding that this is the world of numbers that I am dealing with, in the sense of vibration or symbols, and they all serve as signposts to helping us become better versions and expressions of who we truly are. I had never ever thought that I would be barefaced on a screen, because I don't even go out to the shops, or very rarely I have done, but to the corner, well, mainly I would wear makeup. I had envisioned myself growing old and wearing all my makeup. I am being stripped naked. And that's what it was. Wow. That's what it is. Now I get it. Now I get it. When Adam and Eve saw that they were naked, it was a good thing. They saw themselves naked. It goes and coincides with the teachings that I have been given. Their eyes were open and they were naked. They were bare. They were barefaced. Now we were told before that when God put them in the garden and they knew each other, they were not ashamed. We were told afterwards that they were hiding, but not that they were ashamed. Could they have been hiding from the God who had clothed them? Could they have been hiding from the God who would seek to put aprons on them that they should be ashamed? Have we learned the story back to front? Now I am barefaced, transparent. I suppose I can get some comfort in believing that the God in me is arising now. I am guided to do this presentation. It's like I feel compelled to do so. Because at some level, at some deep level, I know it's freeing me from the inhibition. And Crimey Queen is really about actualizing self-full love. I had written 2 volumes of The Crimson Light, a bridge to actualizing self-full love. I had begun the journey crossing that bridge. Crossing, but not fully crossed it. I believe now I am near crossing or towards the other end of that bridge into another dimension, another level. Have you ever been so happy, feel so at peace or so elated that you just want to cry? Have you ever been in a state where you are tearful, you feel overwhelmed, you don't quite know why? But have you taken time to ask Spirit, why? Why do I feel this way? What is happening? What am I meant to do? What am I meant to be? What am I even meant to ask? What am I meant to see? What am I meant to hear? What am I meant to be aware of? What am I meant to know? What's my next step? And that's what happened to me just before getting the message of being bareface, because those were the questions that I asked, and the answer had come to me whilst looking in the mirror. I had just put on my makeup and I felt it was perfect. Put on the eyeshadow and a little bit of foundation all around my eye, and I tapped it all around, and I thought, oh, I look beautiful. And then this feeling just came all over me. All over me. And one of the things that I do is when the question comes to mind, and I think it really built on a video I watched some time ago as well, about our hair, the strength of our hair, which is meant to be like our antenna. Now, of course, I had done the numbers through numerology, and I had known that the hair is number 9. That's where we are birthing. It's the end. It's 9. It's birth. It's beginning. So we are getting all information through our hair, through our hands and our feet and our head. It's the 9. It's those 5 points. I had learned this. And so I also learned that the skin equals number 8. So if I'm forever blocking the skin, I am now really blocking the messages. The receptive nerves are not as acute as they should be. Now I feel, because of course I do numbers, if I am going to spend 15 minutes where I could be most effective than spending an hour being less effective, why shouldn't I take the path of the 15 minutes? That's what it is. If I wear no makeup, if I wear makeup, it would take me longer to process the information that I need to process. And I know this. There is something within me that knows this. And as Spirit has told me that all the answers we need are within us. There is nothing you want to know that is not available. The answers are always available. Of course, there are questions about timing and our preparation for them. So I have this philosophy. If you're going to ask a question, be prepared to follow the answer. So the other thing that was very crucial is that I had the answer. Was I ready to follow up the instructions that were with it? So going by the sensations, the thought processes, the vibrations that were so audible, I used my ankh and I also use it in a methodical way, guided by Spirit, in how to use it. I have developed a sense of communication. And so when I ask, are you saying I really shouldn't wear makeup? The answer had come in the form of a bow. It had come in the form something like this. A bow. Like an 8, but it's missing the end of it. It's as if, this is what I'm just getting now, the bottom of the 8 had broken so it can birth into 9. Thank you. Spirit. I am open and receptive to this new birth. There's a rebirth. It's very profound. It's very, and I believe it's really for the earth signs. I have covered deep revelation in line with Genesis, the 9 gods, and also the 5 gods, meaning 14. So Uranus, for instance, equals 22, which means it is matching with the 2nd house in Taurus. Taurus equals 10. 10, when we do the numerical value for the word perfect, it's 10. So it has gone in a perfect house for what it needs to, or it is going to enter a perfect house that has something like its kind, like Emmett Fox would say, something like itself on which to attach itself to. So it's the 2, the number 2. So Taurus is the 2nd house. And 2 10s are 20. So it's finding something there. As I also said, I'm no astrologer, and I just get a little tail end of whatever it is that I need to know synchronistically. And I believe that Pluto, the dwarf planet, is the planet that we need to find within us. It is the stone that the builder refused or had rejected, and now becomes the chief cornerstone. The chief stone, the chief is in the high place. It's the pineal gland. It's the Kundalini rise. But I do say, if anyone is interested in following that path, follow the path or the detoxifying mind and body, along with meditations. Lots of time spent in green, parks, forests, water. So something major is going to happen. And that was another message I had last week. Major. And I hadn't known what that major thing was going to be, but I believe it's about when Uranus enters the 2nd house, which is already manifesting through me, because of course there's so many things that are happening that at first almost seemed to frighten me. Not anymore, because it's a path somehow I understand that I had chosen to take. I had that agreement in the spirit realm to follow that path. And so, as I say in Genesis of chapter 1, we had, okay, I haven't got this with me now, but there are a list of entries where Mother Eve had made their 8 entries, because she is the spokesperson in Genesis. And there's the thing. There's so much, so many correlations in that story and my life, and along with the story of Christ, in the sense of the Last Supper, where there were 13 disciples, well, along with him were 13 at the table, 12 disciples. And so I come from a family of 14. It would mean that when Christ died and had risen from the dead, he would be coming back as the Pluto that we have rejected. Of course, because he was cast away. He was crucified. That's the story. But this is a story that is very relevant to us, very applicable to our lives, a story to pay attention to. I'm not saying that there was a man who really died on the cross, but I can see through numerology, and the church bell is ringing. Like my grandma would say, when that happens, you are speaking truth, meaning everyone is speaking truth at this moment. Okay. However, this is the story. When we do Christ, Christ equals 5. And he would be seen as the Savior. So we all have to die of, whether it is the makeup. For someone else who wears makeup, it may not be the same for them as it is for me. It might mean nothing to them if they were asked to, well, not wear makeup anymore. They might suddenly decide one day, I've had enough of this. It doesn't matter. But for me, I realized it had been my Pluto. I'm just saying the word put from Pluto. We have to put it somewhere. It's like fixing house. You put things away. You put things out. You put things away. And that's what Pluto is going to do for us. We need to find our Pluto. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. I feel that it is something that is a message that is important for everyone, but particularly, as I would say, for earth signs, Taurus. We are not at a stage of where we ought to be resisting anymore. It's a new journey for me. Carrying on bareface. I've got to be bareface. I had dreams about being barefooted, but bareface. It's what we do. First thing we look at in the mirror is our face. But of course, I have to say I love myself exactly as I am. I totally love and approve of myself exactly as I am. I leave you with this. Thank you.